So you can say from verse number 12 onwards. No, not verse number 12, verse 13 onwards. So Krishna mentioned how people in this world are bound by laws of material nature. They're under the influence of the three modes of material nature, whereas Krishna is not. And then he also gives a hint how can living entities also go beyond the control of material nature. What do you mean by control? We are being controlled by material nature. Can anyone say? What do you mean by we're being controlled by material nature?
We're always acting under those three modes.
We're acting under three modes. Okay, can you give an example? Just so that we can understand.
Right here, right now, if you're in mode.
No, like how can you say that we're being controlled? Emphasis on being controlled. Yeah, can anyone give an example? Well, generally, no one wants to be controlled, isn't it? You want to be independent. Yeah. You eat something. And you're telling me what you're giving me examples for the three modes.
By nature, what we do, not control by when we say control, doesn't mean that like someone's actually like controlling the person, but
Okay.
the mode of nature. So by nature, I think we're doing things like
Okay. How many of you say we are controlled? We are being controlled. How many of you say we are not being controlled? No one. Okay. So now you have to just justify your answer. Why do you say that you're being controlled? What makes you think you're being controlled?
like just want to eat something, like a sudden want, like I want to eat it, so now I'm eating it.
Okay.
So maybe that is like a that
We are being overpowered by desires, you're
by
saying?
desire.
Okay.
So
Okay. Thank you.
that's what I want.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Trying to satisfy senses. Where is the being controlled aspect? So where is the being controlled aspect?
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Mind.
Mind.
Controlled by
Okay.
mind.
Controlled by mind. You have to give an example.
Like
We're controlled by three modes of material nature or the mind or senses, whatever, but give an example. And this is
yeah, just like
when we're discussing fourth chapter, this is a very basic question.
what we just said, mind wants to.
Hare Krishna.
Like I want to eat. Like mind in your mind, it's like I want to eat something. Now we're eating that, so it was something that came up in our mind.
Okay.
Now I want to just act upon, controlled by.
I got the point. Overpowered by desires. That point is well taken. Anything else? How do you experience being controlled? Because everyone raised hand when I asked. Yes.
When I get angry, I feel that I am being controlled because there are certain things in the rush of adrenaline of anger. I feel that when I think about it in retrospective, um, I'm surprised. What did I say? I didn't really mean it.
Yeah. When things go out of control, that means we are being controlled by something else, isn't it? Very good example. And you are saying that being controlled by anger. Yeah. Thank you. Any such more practical examples? Day to day. I mean, we are controlled for most part of it. Yeah.
Kind of a control, calm, low, isha, like we want to achieve something. That's a kind of control.
We are being controlled by that.
Yes. Because
Okay.
we want something. Every
Okay.
time we want something is kind of a control.
Okay. And whenever we want something, it's kind of control. And what if you can you tell the mind I don't want it and still you're forced to do it? Hmm? It happens. Okay. Any more example? Yes.
when things are not going our way, but still like a mind would, like form a perception,
Okay.
and even though we know that the situation is temporary, but still we would cry on it or get angry. So
Mm-hmm.
we are getting control.
Okay. Good. We are being controlled by emotions. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. These are the type of examples I want. Yeah. The boss controls you. Now, who likes to go to office? Now, some people say, no, Prabhu, I really love my work. If the boss stops the paycheck, who will go to company? No one goes, isn't it? And as soon as you're in this world, you have to follow someone. The tendency is we are being controlled, to be controlled, isn't it? And Krishna says in later on chapter, Krishna says, Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. I'm sorry, not that one. Um, Krishna says, Aham ahankara vimudatma kartam iti manyate. What is that? No, no, no. I mean, this is so common. Maybe Krishna says, yeah, prakriti kriyamanani. That means material nature in this world is actually working out everything, isn't it? So, what is the scope of action of the soul? Of you, of the soul means of us. How much? What is my contribution to the development of, or to the, what is happening in society? What is really my contribution? So many times one feels that I am the one in charge. I'm the one in control, isn't it? So this verse, I think Prakriti Kramani is what 9.3. No, I don't remember exactly. In this verse, Krishna says, it is the three modes of material nature which are actually in control. For example, someone may say, I am really ambitious. I want to be the richest man in this world. And then he slogs day and night to be the richest man. So where is that desire coming from? From the mode of passion. Yeah. Someone says, I just want to drink all day and I don't want to do anything in this world. Overcome by mode of ignorance. Someone can say that these are my desires, therefore I'm fulfilling them. But where are these desires coming from? Sorry? From mind. Yeah. But why is mind giving rise to certain types of desires? Like, yeah, because of habits? Of course, habits, but if you
Because
go
we see it
behind, yeah,
in our surroundings.
because we see it in our surrounding. Okay, so what happens is our senses comes in touch with sense objects, isn't it? Our senses come in touch with sense objects, then immediately we associate. Hare Krishna. Immediately we associate with a sense object. So how are things moving is, for example, there is Prakriti, material nature. Now, material nature has its influence on the living entities, on everything in this world through three ropes. What are the three ropes? Mode of goodness, sattva, mode of passion, rajas, and mode of ignorance. Finally, speaking up. And this is how everything in this world is actually being controlled. So, for us, the mind is under the three modes of material nature. That means if I increase sattva, immediately the mind puts forth desires like, let me help out a friend, let me go to a park, let me read a nice book. Sattva. If you increase the mode of passion in the mind puts up desires like, let me hang out with that girl, isn't it? Or let me make more money. Why is my friend doing better than me? I am the best. So these are type of desires that come from mode of passion. And if you increase the mode of ignorance, then mind doesn't want to do anything. Lethargy, wants to sleep all day, or one wants to just drown himself in intoxication, wants to forget everything. So you're able to understand? Are you able to understand how the three modes are impacting the mind? Right? Now, if a living entity, generally speaking, soul follows the mind. Yes? So now if the three modes are controlling the mind and you are following the mind, can you understand how three modes are impacting us? Are you sure? Okay, who can say how the three modes are impacting the living entities.
So we have to summarize.
Yeah, you just have to repeat what I said.
Yeah, so there are three modes: uh, uh, Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun.
Correct.
So when 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 we are mostly getting into in alignment with the Satogun, then as you gave the examples, we would like to help out a friend. We dwell into nature or read some really meaningful, nice books or something like that.
Correct.
And if mind is following, like the rest of our being is being followed by what is going on in our mind, then the rest of our being would overall have that impact more, which is the Satogun. But if
Correct.
we have the Rajogun, which is mode of passion, then it would more be like, let's achieve more materially, let's be more profound materially, or let's dominate materially, or let's be better than others in a competitive sense. All mostly material, competitive, stressful kind of things.
Correct.
And if our mind largely is occupied by the mode of ignorance, which is tamogun, then we would be driven towards uh, lethargy, intoxication, doing nothing, or basically just uh, spoiling our opportunity of this lifetime and the agency we have as mind and body, like our entire being.
Okay. Thank you. So then final connection. You did.
So,
Yeah.
if it's like if so, depending on which mode of passion is predominantly operating in our mind,
Yeah.
is how our rest of the being, the core of our being, say soul, would follow.
Okay.
That is impacting us. Then it will also impact our us as human being, our
Why?
core essence.
Yeah. Why does it? How does it impact us? It does impact. Why does it impact?
I mean, like I mean, it's
No.
like that's a hint.
No, no, I'm not giving you hint.
It's like because if that is what controls our senses,
Hmm.
then that is the direction our life and our karma, our actions will also take. So
Okay.
so whatever energy that our soul has or our being has
Hmm.
will be directed in that direction.
No, you said about the three modes impact on the mind and what happens. How is it impacting the living entity?
So of course, if brain is the guiding factor that directs our action, our thought, everything, then we'll tend to follow either of these three, whichever is dominant on us, rajas, tamas, or satogun. Then that will sort of drive our entire being into that particular direction, whichever is dominant, and will like have an impact. Like how the mechanism functions, I don't know. Where the
Okay.
soul resides, where the mind resides, there is some
Basically,
arrangement.
soul is controlled when it follows the mind, isn't it? Because the mind is being controlled. Then, if the soul is following the mind, soul is also controlled.
So does the soul follow the mind?
Yeah, we are all following the mind.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Who is the I who is
Is
instructing
it
the
is
mind
a
to change his? So if someone is, he has more rajasic gun, then he decides, right? I should increase my sattva.
correct?
And
He
who's
is
that I?
that is you.
Soul, right?
That is you. Yeah, you are the soul.
So is the soul controlled by mind or?
So, so I'll just show you a drawing. Hmm? Good question. I'm trying to explain the same thing. So you have material nature, which is called as prakriti. Maybe this can go here. Yeah. So you have prakriti. You can see. You let me know if you cannot see. Then you have the prakriti exhibits her influence through three modes of material nature. What are the three modes? Yeah. Okay. Finally. Now these are like your handcuffs. They are like the ropes. These three. Now they have what happened? So they have impact on everything. They have impact on anything and everything in this world. For example, table is in mode of ignorance. or park atmosphere is in mode of goodness. A pub is in mode of ignorance. A competitive environment is in mode of passion, isn't it? So everything is governed by three modes, and not individually three modes, but a mixture of modes. That means some places rajas is high, tamas is little less, and goodness is minimum. Some places goodness is a peak, rajas is very less, and ignorance is almost non-existent. Or our lifestyle. In the daytime, we are passionate, therefore we work. At night time, we are predominantly in ignorance, therefore we sleep. In early in the morning, we are predominantly in goodness, therefore we do some spiritual activity. Hmm? Hare Krishna. So now, just taking mind in specific. So the three modes of material nature, first of all, affects the mind. Yeah. So this is like the effect. Hmm. And if I can make it small, but yeah, I hope you're following. Prakriti exhibits her influence. You can say this is her influence. Hmm, through the exhibition of these three modes, and the three modes have impact on everything. Now we are just talking about what it impacts is the mind, the subtle body, and gross body also. Gross body is also ignorance, therefore it's dead. Anything dead is in mode of ignorance. Therefore, if you increase ignorance in your life, you become almost dead. Yeah, you don't want to do anything, lying whole day on the bed. So there's a mode of ignorance. So now this mind forms the subtle body, isn't it? Okay. Now if you see, you have, okay, forgive me for my drawing. Oh, okay, so you have this is your gross body. What is gross body made up of?
Five elements.
Five elements. What are they?
Akash, Prithvi, Jal, Vayu.
In English, please. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Yeah. Then within that you have your subtle body. Mm-mm. Okay, and this forms a subtle body. What is subtle body made up of? Mind, intelligence, and ego. Yeah, false ego. Okay, we'll put it e raised to f. So this is a subtle body, and within the subtle body is present soul. Let me. There are some other instruments. This is your soul. And red is not a good color for this. You're able to see on the screen?
Make it light side.
Yeah, I'm going to make it white actually. Yeah, or maybe golden. Okay, this is a soul. Soul has a form, but just two. It's not a light bulb.
You think soul has a form or does not?
Does have a form.
Is it true?
Yeah, when you get the spiritual, when you enter spiritual world, you'll see it. And it's not proved because material science has its own limitations. Through matter, you cannot understand spirit because matter has its own dimension. Like for example, for an ant walking on the table, if I put a drop of water, it will be thinking, who is dropping this? Where is the water coming from? Because ant only works in 2D. It has no access to 3 dimension. Similarly, we also have access to limited dimensions, but there are multiple, many more dimensions. So even if something happens, we cannot understand. In such a case, we need absolute shastric reference, or you can say absolute reference, which is the Vedic scriptures. And in Bhagavad Gita, which is one such Vedic scripture, Krishna says like that.
Soul is in the heart.
In the region of the heart. Hmm. So this is your soul. Let me put it as I, because that is the identity. This is you. You're able to understand this? So now the three modes of material nature are definitely attacking your they're definitely attacking your gross body, which is ignorance. Gross body is ignorance. Then you have your subtle body, influence on the subtle body. How? Because the three modes of material nature controls the mind. Hmm? Accordingly, when the three modes of material nature control the mind, that time what happens is, let's go below here. Based on the three modes, it produces desires. Hmm? According to the three modes, and this you can test it out. And this is scientific because it is in theory, and you can view it, you can see it in yourself when you put it in practice, and it's repeatable. Anyone who does it, same result. You can change the modes, how you work, and see what type of desires your mind harnesses. Yeah. Sometimes if your friends say, come for this, say 18 plus movie or something, adult movie, I was saying, why would anyone go have better things to do? That means the mind is in a less passion, less ignorance, more in goodness. But sometimes the mind is very much agitated. That means the lower modes are even more, and goodness is less. Yeah, you guys can understand what I'm saying. Can you relate? I'm only getting yes from the crowd near the wall. Others, you able to understand or no? Okay. So these things give you desires, and then what happens? The living entity from morning 5 a.m. to night 10 p.m. he's working hard, working hard. Yeah, carrying a suitcase and going to work with a hat. Yeah, he's off to work, so busy, no time to chant, no time to read Bhagavad Gita, no time to practice Krishna consciousness, isn't it? Whole day and night he's working so hard just so that he can get some dollar note. Okay, yeah, I'm just overdoing it. So this, why is a person working so hard? It is because he wants to fulfill desires. So who is controlling whom? Huh? Money is controlling, you can say money is controlling him because he actually wants to fulfill desires. But desires are born of three modes of material nature. Three modes of material nature means Prakriti. So who is controlling? Yeah. Now you can understand how the living entity is being influenced by Prakriti. So in classes I had explained, see these things I'm not even starting today's verse because I'm seeing blank faces. So I'm just covering the important concepts. These are very important basic concepts. So you have a tripod. So let's or God. Ishvara, again Prakriti, and then you have Jiva. Let's draw a just straight line and I'll tell you what Jiva do. This is the scope of activity of soul. How free am I? Okay. Haribo. How free am I? See, my phone fell now. Already my mind is disturbed. How free am I? You able to see? Hmm? So in the Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned Jiva's scope of activity or control is very minimum. That means if we have to, even when I'm speaking to you, there's a cooperation amongst these three. What is Ishvara? Krishna, God. And his activity is sanctioning. He sanctions, functions. Let me mention the sanctions. And what can the Jiva do? Uh, desire. Okay. You guys are not making notes, so I'm making notes for you. Sanctions, desires, and Prakriti.
Provide.
One who can actually help us to execute it, like Lord
Okay.
Durga, right?
Correct.
God gives sanctions it. Like
What is
gives
one
us
word?
like
If you have
that's
to
what
put
I
in
mean.
one word, only one word space is there. Facilitates. Good. Is this clear? Okay, so I did one experiment. I went to the subway station on the Hoyts Kemohan station, and as the A train came, I said, A train, open the door. Oh yeah, first stop, stop. I said stop. Then the train came to a stop. So it made me think that I am in control. Then I said, okay, open the door, and the door opened. Then it reinforced my understanding that I'm actually in control. Then I got in and said, okay, close the door, and I closed the door. Okay, now move to the next station and started. How many of you understand that I'm actually in control here? No? Why not? Train operator. Isn't it?
Because when you are not there, trains still go.
Yeah, good. When I'm not there, it's still moving. Okay, anything more like
If you
that?
will
Counter.
not execute the commands,
It still goes on. Yeah, even if I keep quiet, it still goes on, isn't it? So now now I can easily understand that it is not going. It's not working under my control. It is beyond my control. If I say in the door, it won't open the door. If I tell the train, don't open the door, it will still open the door when it's time. So you can make out it's not under my control. So what does Jiva do? What does Jiva do? Jiva can desire. Jiva or soul, we can only desire. What is our desire? I can say I really want to eat at Dunkin' Donuts. It's a desire. Now, or before I go to those examples, say for example, I say I want to lift my hand. So I'm able to lift my hand. So who is lifting? Who is lifting the hand? God is lifting the hand. Really? His hand. He is lifting his hand. Who's now? Yeah, he's allowing me to lift my hand. No, but who is lifting? If he's allowing, then I'm lifting. Okay, I'm the one lifting. So I'm thinking I'm the doer. You know, I don't need. Who cares for God? If I want to lift my hand, I can lift my hand. If I want to speak, I can speak. If I want to think, I can think. If I want to write, I can write. What is the need of God in all this? Yeah, good argument. Now, if for example, I'm hit with paralysis, right side of my body, the jiva can still desire. I want to lift my hand. Can I lift my hand? No. Can I eat my food with my right hand? Can I punch someone? Nothing. None of these things can happen. In both the places, I'm desiring. Just like the train example, coincidentally, sometimes coincidence is taken as cause and effect, isn't it? Whereas actually it's not cause and effect. Similarly, here also it's coincident. It's not coincident. The jiva is desiring. Yeah. In both the cases, I'm desiring with paralysis or without paralysis. When I don't have paralysis, I'm able to lift, and when I'm hit with paralysis, I cannot lift. So what is the understanding? You see, jiva, it can only desire. Now this desire has to be sanctioned by Ishwar. So therefore, this is the arrow. Goes like this. And Krishna sees on based on what does he sanction? Okay. So let me put it in red. Okay. In computer science, that flow chart we make, if else and all that. So let's put here. I don't want to place karma above God. Then some people mistaken that Krishna also has to be controlled. Let's put it on the side. Oh, sorry, not karma. Okay. So this is what Krishna checks. So it sanctions. Now Jiva desires, and Ishvara he checks with karma. Is it sanctioned? I mean, do you have enough credit to to perform this action, or is not there. Accordingly, he will instruct Prakriti. Yeah, and Prakriti facilitates. So now I want to lift my hand. Desire gone to Ishvara, and Ishvara checks. Oh, this fellow, he has used his right hand to murder someone, isn't it? So he says the karma doesn't allow. So then what does Ishwar do? He says Prakriti, don't facilitate. That means I'm hit with the, and Prakriti accordingly she'll follow Ishvara, because she is Vaishnavi. So she is going to follow Ishvara, and I am hit with paralysis, and therefore I cannot lift my hand. Yes,
So we are saying,
you understood this till now. Okay.
like, we say that Lord Krishna takes care of the karma of everyone.
Yeah,
But last time we were also studying in one of the words where we say that once you become devotee,
devotee, correct.
Krishna personally takes
Yeah,
care of your
yeah. This is just general.
karma book.
Yeah,
But then what is the difference? Is taking care of people who are not devotees as well, right?
he is taking care of.
Because this sanctioning and everything is happening for every
Yeah,
but when you're devotee, then we say he personally takes care. Then
takes
what
care.
is the difference?
What is the difference? Good question. Actually, Krishna says, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha. I'm actually equal to everyone. I don't favor anyone, nor do I despise anyone. But ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maiti teshu chapyaham. But those who worship me, I am specially favorable to them. You can understand this.
Like he can
Krishna is
bypass
saying,
certain things. Like let's say you have a lot of sorrow and sorrow or lots of bad karma you might have done in your previous life.
right,
He has the power to override that or change that.
of course, Krishna is above karma. See, this is all Krishna's system of how is everything the material world is working. For a devotee, Krishna can change everything. For example, then
Krishna makes sure that he does it for
yes, then Krishna says in 12th chapter, he says as what is that? Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter. Can you open 12th chapter? In 12th chapter, he says, uh, yeah, tesham aham samuddarta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavaminat chirat partha maya veshita chetasam. Those who are my devotees, even if they forget at the time of death to remember me, for them I will go and pick them up. Krishna says. But for materialist, he let the karma take care. So when you see a person who is not a devotee suffering or enjoying, like some people are very sad to see like terrorists, not being caught, they're enjoying in this world while doing bad. How are they enjoying? Because they have done some good in the past and they're just reaping the fruits. But what bad they're doing in this position, they have to reap the fruits in the future. So Krishna doesn't disturb their karma. They are just doing they on their own basically. But Krishna still gives them air to breathe. He still gives them material elements, material world. Because if they have to enjoy, what will they enjoy with? That is also given by Krishna, the resources to enjoy. But he doesn't deal with them on a personal level as much as he deals with the devotees. With the devotees, he when now for devotees, what changes is say the jiva desires, like say Dhruva desired, I want a kingdom greater than that of Brahma, and he worship Vishnu. So then Vishnu can see in this karma it is allowed. But then Krishna has one more factor. Is it good for my devotee? That factor is also there. So if it is not good, he'll say, not now, maybe in the future. Krishna will do that for his devotee. But for others, he just acts as a judge. For devotees, he also acts as a father. Yeah, two roles. Okay, this is clear. So now you can understand how free the jiva is. So what is, if you talk about free will, what is jiva free to do? Desire. Nothing else, but just desire. So now you can understand how jiva is controlled, and those desires also sometimes, jiva can desire, but those desires also sometimes pushed forth by prakriti. According to the jiva, how he is going on in this material world, he's interacting with the material environment and cultivating those desires. So therefore, he becomes ghost haunted in this world.
So is it
Yeah.
directional? Like how you were explaining how desires come from the material nature.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, and I mean, desires are from this time, this life, millions of lifetimes. It's there. This is like a storehouse. Mind is like a storehouse. Yeah? I mean, why am I talking all this? Because first of all, we need to understand we're being controlled. Then we understand why to practice spiritual life. Hmm. Otherwise, there's other way of practicing spiritual life, the school of hard knocks. Let the material nature give us kicks, and then we learn it the hard way. When we learn it the hard way, you really love someone, and inevitably he or she has to die, and that time it clicks, it hits you that, oh, everything is temporary in this world. I mean, of course, people still go back to materialistic living, or you can understand and practice spiritual life to understand how this world is really working, how very much we are so controlled in this world. So when we are so controlled, now what you'll be able to appreciate is this. So the three handcuffs, you can see. Oh, sorry, I cannot do black on black screen. I'll put it as blue. These are the three handcuffs. This is what is binding the living entity. Hmm. So who can unbind the living entity? If you're tied,
Spiritual knowledge.
okay, spiritual knowledge. Okay, spiritual knowledge can unbind you. Good.
In the name of God.
Name of God. Okay. Mhm. Becoming a devotee. So basically, who is unbinding you? So if you're locked up, for example, you got kidnapped. Hmm? Prime Minister. Oh, I mean, I was going to use another example. I'm pretty sure his Prime Minister's answer to some question. So, say for example, you got kidnapped and you're held hostage. So while the perpetrators were away and they forgot to take your phone, so somehow you have the Siri function and you say, Siri, call. Whom would you call? And along with you, there are many other people also tied. Your friends are tied, your roommates are tied, everyone is tied. Whom would you call? 911. Sometimes 911 they don't pick up. You know that?
And if they do, it takes them
It takes them time to come.
Call your father.
You call your father. Okay. What if your father is also tied? Whom would you call? Whom would you call? Huh?
To call Krishna, you don't need your phone.
You don't need a phone to call Krishna. See?
and try to negotiate direct. Maybe Krishna is the name of his friend. He's calling.
No, calling Krishna is fine. I mean, you guys are giving hypothetical answers. I'm pretty sure if you are really caught and the mobile is right there and Siri is at your beck and call, you will not simply say, "Oh Krishna, please protect me." You will say, "Krishna, please protect me," also, but you also will call someone, isn't it? So practically speaking, whom would you call?
Parents.
Parents.
That time, if my parent is here, my friends are not there, so I'm gonna call my
Yes,
friend.
then very good. What's your name?
Rahul.
Rahul. Is the first time here?
Second.
Second time. See, always answering questions. So you're going to call someone who is not tied, isn't it? The people who are tied, you're not going to waste your time calling them, isn't it? Because they're also tied with you. So whom do you call?
Someone who's not tied up.
Someone who's not tied up. And therefore, in the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, definition of God is given. Janma yasyataha yatonvayad itaratas charteshu abhignya swarat. Abhignya swarat, I mean, he's completely knowledgeable of everything that happens. Just like the soul present in this body, we are knowledgeable of what happens with this body. For example, if some mosquito sits here, immediately without my giving so much attention, automatically my hand goes, isn't it? Similarly, in this, God is said to be the super soul of this universe, soul of the universe. So anything that happens in this world, Krishna gets to know, just as you get to know whatever happens with your body, isn't it? So therefore, he's called as Abhignya. And then Swarat. Swarat means Krishna is completely independent. There's nothing binding him. He's free to do anything and everything. That is the qualification of God. And Janmadi Asyataha. That's the definition of God. What does that mean? He is the creator of everything. Everything emanates from him. So if someone says, who is God? Immediately, what is the answer? God is one who is the creator of everything. But who created God? Whoever created God, then he is God. That means God cannot be created, isn't it? If someone says, God also, because in my experience, anyone you see has someone who created him. So if God has been created by someone, that someone becomes God. If someone says that someone is created by someone, then that someone becomes God. Who needed no creation. And Adi Shankaracharya says the statement from the Upanishad, Narayana Paravaktat. That means even before this material world manifested, Narayana was already present. Well, how do you understand? And this is what I talk about when I said, dimension. In our dimension, everything has to be created by someone. We cannot imagine someone not being created. We cannot imagine anything without the time factor. But spiritual realm is there's no time. Do you know that? There's no time in the spiritual world. But in the material world, everything is a factor of time. Everything is f of t. Like that. So, just a minute. So, therefore, we would approach someone who himself is not bound to unbind us. So, why am I saying this? Now, in the fourth chapter, Krishna is telling Arjuna. In the third chapter, if you remember, Arjuna said, he talked about lust. If you, yeah, I'm mute on Zoom. I don't know how it's just. I think it's connecting, reconnecting. Something is.
Uh, maybe there's
No, see, it automatically stopped. Hare Krishna, if I go on mute, please let someone know. Thank you. I have to again the screen. Okay. Yeah. So I explained all of this because in the fourth chapter, what is Krishna speaking? Krishna is speaking that knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge means spiritual knowledge. And what is the benefit of spiritual knowledge?
freedom,
Sorry,
freedom,
what freedom?
freedom from
Chakra.
Yes, very good. So now I'll show you. Now, if you see 4.10, can you read loudly?
Being freed from the attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me. Many persons in the past become purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attain transcendental love for me.
Yeah. So why to practice Krishna consciousness? Why to practice spirituality? It is just to attain independence, or it is to become free. In this world, believe it or not, we are not free. So therefore, Krishna says this knowledge is actually going to free us. Free us from what? Free us from the gross and the subtle body. Depression. Where is depression existing? Loneliness. Where is it existing? Yeah. Fear. Where? Attachment. Hankering. Lamentation. Not just that. Bhagavatam explains. Desire for engaging with the opposite sex, also in the mind. Hunger, most of it is also in the mind. Hunger, thirst, suffering, and therefore in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Avanti Brahmana mentions samsara chakre parivartayed na devatatma. How does it start? नाहं जनो में सुख दुख हेतु न देवतात्म ग्रह कर्म काला संसार चक्रम मनः परम कारण मामनन्ते संसार चक्रम परिवर्तयेद्यत्. Avanti Brahmana says, what is in short Avanti Brahmana story? Anyone heard here? Do you know who is Avanti Brahmana? Okay, Avanti Brahmana was a very rich merchant. He was so rich at that time. While being rich, many people, because poor people go to rich people, that's how it works. So he was so rich that many people would go to him but equally he was a miser. He would not spend anything for anyone, including his family members. He was that kind of miser. He just he would get this great joy in collecting money and putting it in his safe locker, and he would not use it at all. So many people became very envious of him because he was very harsh with everyone. Gradually, by providence, what happened is one day a thief happened to come to his home. He stole everything from his safe, and then his relatives, his family members, because he never dealt with them properly, they all left him. And then whomever, he was actually doing a grain business. He was a merchant. So whomever he had deals with, trading with, they all left him, and finally he ended up on the road, on the streets, with nothing. So imagine if you have been honored, Krishna says, Arjuna, you have to fight this war, you cannot run away. Because for those who are honored, dishonor is worse than death. Similarly, for Avanti Brahmana, he was leading a life of so much of wealth. Now, in the very next moment, he had nothing with him. So this Avanti Brahmana then understood the temporary nature of this material world. So then immediately he started becoming a devotee of God. Later on, in due course of time, he took sannyas and just started to travel. But as he would travel, many people would recognize that this is the same person who did not help me back then. And Bhagavatam explains such atrocious things they would do to him, but he would never retaliate. For example, when he would eat, first of all, people would not give him anything. And then when he would beg further, then they would give him some previous day's food, which is already rotten. And he would smilingly take it. And then one day, whatever he got by begging, he would be eating, and someone would come and pass urine on it. Bhagavatam explains. I, there's something more which I will not tell. So he was dealt very rashly, very insensitively, but he was not at all disturbed. And then he gives his prayers. He starts praying to the Supreme Person of Godhead. And what was one of his such prayers is? He says that with the verse which I quoted, Naham janome sukha hetuhu. The cause of happiness and distress in my life, na devatatma, is not the demigods, is not the people who are doing this to me. Na devatatma graha karma kala. It is not the grahas, the planets, sade sati, and they say different astrological excuses. It's not the graha. It is not karma. It's not because of my karma I'm suffering, and it is not because of the time I'm suffering. What does he say is the cause of suffering? Manaha param karanam amananti. He says mind is the main reason for my suffering, because of which I am in the cycle of birth and death. Samsara chakram parivartayedyat. And it is perpetuating my existence in this cycle of birth and death. So this is his one of his realizations, crutchable realization recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam is Bhashyana Brahma Sutranam. That means it's the commentary to the epitome, the final summum bonum work of Vyasadeva, which compiles all the Vedic knowledge in Bhagavatam. And that this prayer is recorded. Isn't it? So that means if we can control the mind, we go beyond everything. There's no suffering for such a person. So where does it exist? Suffering? In the mind. Everything exists in the mind. And therefore Krishna is saying, if one hears about me, if one becomes Krishna conscious, what is the benefit? He becomes freed from attachment, fear, anger, and he becomes purified by knowledge of me. What is that purification? Purification of lust, anger, greed. So once the heart is purified, that means heart or mind is the same thing, chitta. Once the chitta is purified, then there is no suffering in this world. And this is why to hear about Krishna is very important. Yeah? So, and further verses what we have already in our system. He is not affected by karma, but we are affected by karma. We need to determine what is action, what is inaction, how to act, how not to act. But for Krishna, there is nothing like that, isn't it? Can Krishna kill? For us, ahimsa is advertised in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is telling about ahimsa in the 13th chapter, 20 items of knowledge. But for Krishna, Can he kill? Yeah, because by killing he benefits. This is one speciality of Krishna. By killing he benefits. Can anyone here you can benefit someone? No, only Krishna can do that. So therefore, in this verses from 13 or 14 onwards, he is saying how we are all bound by karma, and he is giving an escape route. If you want to escape the cycle of birth and death, if you want to get above the influence of karma and the material nature, then you have to perform akarma. We have discussed all this, and this is our whole class was revision what we have done till now. But he is not subjected to karma. This much he is saying till verse number 19, 18 and 19. Yeah, see, no, till 18 and 19, 20 onwards. He's saying, what is the symptom of one who has understood this knowledge? He becomes devoid of desire for sense gratification and so on and so forth. See, abiding on attachment to the results of his activities, he becomes ever satisfied, independent. He performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. See, this doesn't mean that you withdraw from society and go to a secluse in a forest. You are in the society, but you're not, sorry, you're not bound by society. You're not bound by your actions. So there's a technique. What is the technique? Can anyone say? How to act such that you don't get bound?
Keeping Krishna, being Krishna.
Yes, that means whatever we do, we need to keep Krishna in the center. So wherever Krishna goes, he satisfies, he liberates. Oh, sorry, what is it?
Surrender yourself.
Surrender yourself to Krishna, yes. Yes. So therefore, can I work? Yes, you can work. But you work for Krishna. Don't work in such a way that you forget Krishna. Then the whole purpose is defeated of human form of life. But work in such a way that you can remember Krishna. And whatever you are, whether studying or working or doing any activity, it has to make you Krishna conscious. And then one gets over the cycle of birth and death. Okay, then he explains such a man of understanding acts with the mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship. That means he understands Krishna is everything. Everything belongs to Krishna. See, thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. And he who is satisfied with gain which comes of his own accord, who is free from duality, does not envy, and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. That means he doesn't put so much endeavor. Yeah? And yeah,
What does duality mean in that context?
who is free from duality, again becoming affected by success, failure, profit, loss, happiness, distress. Yeah, these things. This is all duality. And 23rd, we are supposed to do 23rd today. Yeah, which we'll do next time. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Such a person, see, how can a work of a man who is unattached to modes of material nature? How can someone be unattached to modes of material nature? We just till now we discussed how material nature is affecting the living entity. So the chart we understood, so the drawing. So here it said the work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature. What does that mean? How is that possible?
When you know the
Yeah.
transcendental knowledge.
Okay.
Doing everything for Krishna.
Then what happens then?
We're liberated.
So what mode of nature doesn't exist anymore?
It exists, but it doesn't it cannot touch you because you'll not either be incurring either bad or good karma. You're not bound.
Okay.
Bound by it.
Yeah, correct. You are telling the result. You are not bound by it. But how I'm asking?
Because you're not doing it for sense gratification anymore.
Very good. Because you no more do it for sense gratification.
I have a question on
Yes.
this. So, if a person is in meat selling business,
Yeah.
but he's
Which
working
he
for Krishna,
no. Then he will not be in meat selling business. Yeah. If he's working for Krishna, it's like saying, whatever you eat, offer to Krishna and eat. Okay. Today I'm trying to eat KFC chicken, so let me offer to Krishna and if you are really concerned about Krishna, then.
but what if he's a fisherman and he has to sell fish?
So gone are those days. According to scriptures, if you are in a position where there is no vegetation, then you can eat meat because survival is the first principle. But gone are those days with all the trading and import and export, all the supermarkets and even villages. There's no such place where you are only bound to eat fish. So practically speaking, doesn't exist. Yes.
she's trying to ask, I have
Yeah.
another example. So
Okay.
let's say there is army person, and he's like he's fighting for his country,
Mm.
and then he ends up killing other countries' military person,
Correct.
right? With Bhagavad Gita, little of what I know, Krishna also advises
Arjuna to fight.
Arjun, right, to um, have to the battle against his own family.
Right.
Calls it as karma, right? So when I think
He calls it as
sorry, I don't know what
okay.
I think it was your karma.
Akarma.
A karma.
Yeah, that's a spiritual activity because Arjuna is fighting on behalf of Krishna.
Right. So in that, in the example of someone who's killing,
Hmm.
now there are two Gs. This makes sense to us because we know that it's protecting the borders,
Right.
it's protecting everyone's lives. So there's
Correct.
some morality to this we can discuss. But he's about to kill someone else's son.
He can also kill someone else's
Sorry,
son.
the military person, Indian army officer.
He can just kill someone random who's not a terrorist. Okay.
He's in a war situation, and he's about to kill I don't know, somebody from China border, Pakistan border, military person
Okay.
on the other side.
Okay.
That person is also someone's son. You're taking someone else's right.
Hmm.
So now if I come back to the example where she started, where if you're in meat cutting business, not that you, let's not think this person is an adult, but the person was born into
Hmm.
a butcher's family,
Yeah.
right? What was your, sorry, what was your question? Why were you saying that?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing his business. He might be Krishna conscious in his home, but he's doing his business because he has to earn for his family.
So you're saying the only skill he has is to cut animal?
No, don't go by this. No, that's not what she's saying.
Okay.
What you were explaining before is how to get freed from while you are doing the action. How to not attach yourself
Hmm.
to an action. Is that when you're doing everything from a point of view of, maybe my words are wrong, but from Krishna consciousness,
Correct.
right? It's not you who are doing it.
Okay. So
It is
when you
you.
say Krishna consciousness, immediately defines the action. So that doesn't mean you can do anything and everything. Now, can I say, I'm very harsh or I'm using abusive words, but I'm detached. I don't care what I speak. No. As soon as you're Krishna conscious, you're responsible. Krishna consciousness doesn't mean escaping from society or becoming irresponsible in the name of detachment. What we are propagating, what we are teaching is called responsible detachment. That means we still take responsibility for it. And how it works, see, what is this transcendental knowledge? Finally, approach a guru. He says, I'll show you, 434.
I also extend on this question. Example of warriors going on deer hunting
Warriors going on deer hunting, like now,
to improve their skills. No,
in the Vedic times. In Vedic times. So, okay, I mean, there are like 3-4 questions packed up in one question.
they're related to this topic.
Yeah, they're related to this topic.
And I have a
So,
question.
and your fifth question. So I'll quickly, yeah. No, I'm going to explain all. Just wait a minute. So, what Krishna consciousness is all about is responsible detachment. You can remember these two words. That means we don't propagate attachment, nor do we propagate irresponsibility. And what does responsible detachment mean? That means, yes, we have to get detached from this world. That means we don't get affected by it, nor we get bound by it. But at the same time, that doesn't mean we can act irresponsibly. Does that make sense? Now, what is that irresponsibility? That means we cannot say, Prabhu, because I'm detached, now I don't care what I work. No. When we understand this transcendental knowledge, then Krishna explains what this transcendental knowledge, when one actually understands, it says that the devotee acts according to the desires of Krishna. If you see the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna doesn't want to fight. Who wants Arjuna to fight? Krishna. So why is Arjuna fighting? To please Krishna. So who is defining Arjuna's action? Krishna. Now, if someone says, I'm killing or I'm in a meat industry, butcher shop, some business I'm continuing. For whom? Now I can say for Krishna. What? Who told you? Did Krishna tell you to do it? That's a simple question. Did Krishna tell you to maintain this business? Finished. That's transcendental knowledge. So as soon as we're Krishna conscious, that means that doesn't is not some undefinable mystical kind of consciousness which people say, no, while after taking mushroom or some drugs. This is not what we're talking about. It's very practical. If you're Krishna conscious, that means one acts how according to what pleases Krishna. Okay, Krishna, this is what you don't want me to do this, I will not do it. You want me to do this, okay, I will do it. Arjuna didn't want to fight, but Krishna wanted him to fight, so he fought. That is being Krishna conscious. He's acting, but for Krishna. Is this clear? Yeah, he's acting for Krishna. If someone now, if you take the examples, someone is born in a family which is butcher family. Now he can change it for his family. He can practice Krishna consciousness and they have his entire family ancestors be delivered, isn't it? By becoming Krishna conscious, he can sell that business away. He doesn't have to maintain it. No one can say today my skill is only Krishna. Actually, Jay Krishna Bhaje say Bada Chatur person for him to maintain today. With especially with technology coming up, AI coming up, people have so many different ways of maintaining themselves. So even if say meat industry can give you, I don't know, I'm just throwing in the air, say $150,000 per annum, and say your other job as a teacher gives you $60,000 a year. Better to take $60,000 a year because that's going to please Krishna. You might become a millionaire averse to Krishna. What is the use? Yeah. Another example is the soldier. Now, a soldier who is fighting for the country, it also is important to mention with what consciousness is he fighting. If a soldier is fighting with the consciousness that yes, I need to protect this tract of land because many innocent people will be killed. Why? Because all these are children of God, and my duty is to protect the children of God, and therefore I need to protect this country from others. If he fights with that consciousness, perfect, because work is based on consciousness, isn't it? And then you said while fighting, he also can shoot someone who is son of someone else. So he also has a mother who will be hurt. Hmm? Um, well, in Yuddha, when war happens, there are, according to Vedic rules and regulations, there is also anyone who is engaged in, especially Dharma Yuddha, they go to heavenly planets. There's no loss in Dharma Yuddha. Now, Krishna also says in the second chapter, Arjuna, you just fight. Even if you lose, you go to heavenly planets. If you win, you get kingdom on this world, in this world, like that. So in war, that sacrifice is made, and this war is not meant for anyone. Especially if someone is worried about, oh, my life and these things, that means he's not a kshatriya. He's not fight. Wars are meant for kshatriyas. For them, if someone cuts them, when they see blood on their hand, then they are enthused to fight more. Anyone here like that? So don't engage in war. No, I'm saying like you also appreciate. Wow, he did such a nice maneuver. I'm not talking out of anger. I'm talking about appreciation for. It is the entire consciousness of a kshatriya. That's the nature of a kshatriya. Yeah.
That was what that person was going to do. That
Like to teach, but what we have to connect it to Krishna. Only then it's unbinding or liberating. If you're not connecting it to Krishna, then we are still stuck. Whatever nature you're born with, one nature today, tomorrow you're born with another nature. But how do you add Krishna element there? It's the real question.
I'm not comfortable with the word pleasing Krishna. Isn't it a sanction that is happening from within?
Um,
I'm I'm getting thrown away by the word pleasing Krishna. That again you have an intent, you're seeking for something while you're doing. That's a desire as well, right?
that's the right type of desire. So Bhagavatam says that desire cannot be killed. Krishna, because of so many different kinds of philosophies present, it cannot cloud the philosophy what Krishna spoke in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. So many people say you have to kill the desire, kill attachment, kill consciousness, become zero, become one with God. These are all not considered as dharma projita kaitava dharma, cheating philosophies. So desire can never be killed. Even if someone says, okay, I want to be free, I want means it's desire. I want to serve Krishna. Eventually, there's a desire, but there's a right desire, there's a wrong desire. There's a desire which can liberate you, there's a desire which can bind you. Is that understandable? So when you do it for Ishwar, it's like saying, you go, like there was a millionaire. He had put a big stone wall fence outside his big palatial home, and he would put a poster saying that don't write on this wall. So, and he put a CCTV camera. Many boys would come and write something, immediately would catch them and find them. One boy intelligently came and he wrote something. So when this millionaire saw this boy's writing, he immediately came, caught hold of this boy, but instead of finding him, he gave him a chocolate. Why? Because this boy had written, "Don't write anything on this wall." So he aligned with the vision of the millionaire, isn't it? So people also writing, he's also writing. Everyone is desiring, but your desire is serving Krishna. Other desire is to not serve Krishna. One is binding, one is liberating. Yeah,
One desire is usually that animal or fish for your benefit. That's all Krishna. That's what it is from Krishna's like doing
correct.
something from for Krishna's life. He doesn't want it. Like he's not. It's not like it's not. He's not asking for something bad.
That's true. And in this world also we do, we are in the US away from home for someone, if not for anyone, for ourselves. We're doing it for someone or some for our own mind, basically. Experience love in this world is not perfect, but you can get a symptom of what love means. That means you have to do what pleases the other person. If you please Krishna, and that's what Krishna says, Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktan maiti teshu chapyaham. If you please Krishna, then Krishna will do everything for you. And what is his capacity? What can he do for you? Give you a job. He can give you a green card. He can help you settle in the US. No, this is nothing. He can get you out of this material world. So that no more job problem. No more job search. Isn't it? No more competitive exams. No more miseries. That's what Krishna can do for you. So why not please him? You have to please someone. Isn't it?
I don't know. I feel that if there is still a desire, your state still being controlled, or you end up thinking that you control it. Because
Okay.
if I have a desire to please someone,
Hmm.
I'll take Krishna out of this concept.
Because if,
Anybody, like
okay.
even a person that I want to please,
Mhm.
a boss or someone, right? It is a desire at the end of the day. Either I think that even like how you explain desires make us our mind is being controlled because of the desires, or because we have a desire, I'm the one I'm gonna please, you know, makes me think that I control the situation.
Okay.
So that's why I'm getting a little thrown off with
The
the first
soul,
one.
the spirit soul, you're the spirit soul. So what does the spirit soul do? Is it a good question? What is this activity? What is the activity of the spirit soul?
Whatever actions.
Actions?
So to be perform any activity.
Then perform any activity. What does it do then?
To be at Anand.
To be in Anand.
Soul is watching.
Soul?
Is watching what the person.
In this world, but eternally, what does soul do?
Wants to do or what it does.
What does he do? Yeah, soul is active. No, we already did this verse. I mean, if you would have made notes, you would have known. This verse has passed by. Nahi kaschit kshanam api jatu tishtata karmakrit. Krishna says. So if not if it is not active to serve God, it is active to serve one's own selfish desires. And if you are saying that serving God, that means we are still not free. Actually, we are free. Can anyone? Okay.
I didn't say serving, I said
Okay.
pleasing. I'm just getting thrown by that word.
Say serving. If you like the word serving, you can replace it. No, really, please. So I don't know what connotations does pleasing word have in today's generation, but serving means pleasing. Like how do you please someone? By serving them. I don't. Yeah. So when you serve God, then He can liberate you. You have to serve someone. So why not God?
How can I work for Krishna as a software?
You can make. We have Gita Life website. Need some work. This.
Yes,
Yeah.
I work for my company. So how can I work?
Of course. So I'm talking about with respect to skill. With skill, you can use to propagate Krishna consciousness. And if you're working for a company, you also get some salary. I think nothing further has to be said, isn't it? Yeah. If basically if you can take the purchase the books, say Bhagavad Gita, and go out and give it to people, let them study and become knowledgeable. If that's not possible, okay, say if you're smart, then study this knowledge, and you have classes and you teach to other people how to become free, how to become Krishna conscious. Or if you say I don't have time, but I can give any resource like money. I cannot give you time because I'm busy, but I can give you money. Okay, then you give money so that someone else will do it on your behalf. Something to be Krishna conscious. There are many ways. If you really want to serve, Krishna will give you millions of ways to do it. Yeah. Okay. So we will take your question at the table in Prasadam. Okay.
No, I got that.
You got okay. Very good. Thank you. So next time we will continue from this verse number 23, isn't it? 23, 23, 24. So anyway, we spoke at length. I think we also got an understanding of who Krishna really is. If we are controlled, he is the one who is not controlled. But Krishna also gets controlled. Yeah, the uncontrollable can get controlled. The unborn takes birth. That's Janmashtami. Krishna says, Ajopisa Navyayatma 4.6. But he's unborn, Ajaha, but he takes birth. He's always existing, but he takes birth. That is his Leela, pastime. So similarly, uh, anyway, so for Krishna is not a hard taskmaster. He doesn't want to see the living entities suffer. Rather, you serve Krishna, Krishna serves you more. The devotees want to serve more, then Krishna serves even more. Then devotees want to serve even more. Yeah? So there's a transcendental competition between the devotees and Krishna. There's the eternal what is happening in the spiritual world. Krishna is serving his devotees, and devotees are serving Krishna.
It also says if you take one step towards Krishna, he take 10 steps towards.
Yeah, and his steps are like Vaman Dev steps, isn't it? So therefore, on this Janmashtami, tomorrow is Janmashtami, one of the most auspicious occasions. And generally, we do fasting on Ekadashi on Janmashtami, not so that we can sleep. One friend I asked, so today is fasting. What are you doing? He said, I'm sleeping. Because what else to do? There's no eating, so better you sleep. Finish off the time. So that's not the purpose of fasting. Purpose of fasting is to have more time available so that we can hear more about Krishna, chant extra rounds, come and do seva. We want to give Krishna as much as possible tomorrow. Many people will be coming here. You can volunteer. So many opportunities to be Krishna conscious. And please don't forget to offer prayers to Krishna, because on such occasions Krishna is extra merciful. We will not understand what is that extra merciful. He's always merciful, but this is extra merciful. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to sing that one bhajan also, but there's no time. So we'll just take prasadam. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki,